have come to believe that they did not get sober on their own. That's basically what the belief is. I did not get sober on my own. I had help, and not just the help of other alcoholics, although they had that, but came to believe in something that exists that is keeping them sober. And so each of them explains what that something might be, and how they came to believe in it. So that's why I like it.
I'm going to read one piece from it. Matt's going to put up a link to the book, please, and then you guys can follow along. This is Came to Believe, and if any of you have it, it says here, and this is a picture of the book. We're going to start using this one on Thursdays. No, that's not it. The put the link up to Came to Believe. Oh, I see what you've done there. Okay. Um, there's two different things, all right? The opening to the spiritual world. So it says here, AA is a spiritual program and a spiritual way of life. Even the first half of the first step, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol as a spiritual experience. An AA member needs more than physical capabilities. He needs the use of his full faculties as a human being to hear the message, to think about it, to review the effects of the past, to realize, to admit, to accept. Um, these processes are activities of the mind, which is part of the spirit. Yes, I began with blind faith, but the proof of the truth is it works. I believe those who said they had suffered from alcoholism, but through AA were now enjoying sobriety. So the truth was there for me to see, but shortly I knew the truth from my own experience. I was not only released from the compulsion to drink, I was guided toward the compulsion to live. So this is from Came to Believe. Everybody should get this book, and then we're going to start reading it on Thursdays. Um, and then also, so Terry's with us today. Has been a member of this group for some time, and then I attended one of his meditation classes. So I was going to ask you if you could, introduce that and maybe just lead us through whatever it is that you want to do in terms of meditation. So over to you.
Okay, well, my name is Terry, and I am an alcoholic. And came to believe, I think you have to do the first step correctly, which is I am powerless. So I am not going to be the one that's going to make me be alcohol free. I do not have the power to do that. This is what I learned. This is what brought me to AA. And I had been, I thought, a person of prayer. I was a person who believed in God, but I was drinking. So what happened? Well, first I said, I can't stop on my own. All right. So I need God. And when I went into AA, they said higher power. I said that I translated that, but you can have absolutely no belief, just the belief that you cannot do it on your own. So what happened? I learned that my first prayer was, God help me. So my initial prayers in the recovery process was me asking, begging, pleading, talking, bringing up my situation, saying, well, here it is. I learned early on that I went from I couldn't stop drinking to I wasn't drinking that day. And when there was alcohol around, just as there had been previously, I didn't drink it. I never had the power to do that. So I knew that what was happening, this change that was going on in my life, was being done by another power. So that was the beginning of belief in a higher power. And because I was not drinking, I could not stop on my own. So I realized I needed to stay in touch with this power, which is sanity. I mean, I need to be restored to sanity. And sanity says I need to do certain things because left to my own devices, I'll be insane, I'll drink, I'll die. So that took me through step 2. Now then, I'm going to turn my will and my life over to God, which means there's going to be a certain praying going on. Well, what is that all about? If I'm going to turn my will, well, the prayer that I knew in AA was asking, talking, but I began to learn that the higher power wasn't just about me not drinking; it was about a relationship. That was a whole new thing, because my life as an alcoholic is all about me. I want what I want when I want it. And relationships are things that I can get, I can control, and so on and so forth. What I was beginning to learn is that's not so. So I had to begin to pray in a way to build a relationship. Well, look at the relationship you have, or used to have, or might have. If you do all the talking to another person and it's all about yourself, what you want, what you need, what you don't have, you are never going to get a relationship of any matter. It's not have no depth and no intimacy. And they'll probably walk away from you soon on because you're really all about yourself. And I realized that was part of alcoholism. You know, the first step's about alcohol. Then you move on to me as an alcoholic. And one of the things I learned, especially as I started doing step 4, was I'm kind of all about myself. I want to talk about me. And so when I would pray, it was help me, give me, make sure this doesn't happen. You're in charge. You have the power. And that was my prayer. It moved a little bit into gratitude. Thank you, higher power, for something. Well, okay, that's a movement. I'm saying thank you now, not just gimme, gimme. But that's still not relationship. It's all coming, sobriety is coming from this power. I'm asking, and we have that relationship, but I think that I learned I drank because of a hole in my heart, and alcohol couldn't fill it, and nothing else could fill it. And I began to sense that this higher power wanted a relationship with me to fill that hole in my heart. How is that going to happen? And the revelation that came to me, and I think it was part of AA, is I had to learn to listen. Now, praying in a way that listens is, well, that's kind of new stuff. How does one listen? If I didn't listen to other people, if I was always about me, how was I ever going to learn to listen? So I had to learn some practice. So I would say, okay, step 11 says prayer, me asking, and meditation, me listening. Well, I sure know how to pray asking and thanking. I'd learned to thank. Yes, I learned gratitude, but I needed to learn to listen. And the best way to listen was to shut up. You know that from relationship with others, but not just to shut up my mouth. I had to kind of not pay attention to my mind, because you have this thing. Okay, you're listening. You say you're listening to another person, but you're not. You're thinking about a response, an answer. You might even be thinking about what you're going to have for dinner tonight. And they're talking about something else. That's still self-centeredness. I'm not listening. I'm just standing there, not talking, acting like I'm listening. You have this happen when somebody says something and you say, what'd you say? You heard them quite well. You're not deaf, but you didn't hear them because you're focused on yourself, your mind, what's in your thoughts. So if I was going to learn to listen, which is meditation, I had to do something about my thoughts. Well, I couldn't get rid of them. A lot of them are crazy. Some of them are important, serious, whatever, they're thoughts. what I realized is it's like a highway of cars, one thought after the other, one thought after the other. And each thought would have an emotion to it, a feeling, an anxiety, uh, a fear, all the things that I learned in step 4 and 5. I'm a fear-based person, I'm selfish, I'm self-centered, and so on and so forth. And so these thoughts would have these kinds of things in them. So I couldn't get rid of them, nor did I have to get rid of them. I just had to stop paying attention to them. And this is how meditation began for me. Stop paying attention to my thoughts. And any method I used was one that helped me to stop paying attention. So the highway of thoughts would become a disengaged background, such as you would have if you were living near a train track and you heard the whistle of a train, or you lived near a bell tower, you heard the bell. Initially, it would be disturbing, but eventually you get used to it. It becomes background. So what I would do is do something that every time I found I say, okay, God, whole higher power, I'm going to sit here and just listen to you and be quiet and still. I closed my eyes so that I wouldn't pay attention to anything. And I just be there. And if I found, which has often happened, thoughts, I would just say to myself, Terry, you're breathing. Notice your breathing. There's not much thought to breathing. So I would just notice my breathing once, second breath, third breath. And what I found with that is the thoughts began to go more into the background. And it allowed a little bit of listening space, if you will. Well, so I say, okay, I can do that. Now what's going to happen, Terry? And I said, I don't know. Because now you are not in charge of the conversation or the relationship. The higher power will decide how and when it wants to reveal something of itself to you. And here's what I found out. I'd sit there and I'd say, okay, I pay attention to my breath. Some people, they have a word they use, but whatever. And I let go of focusing on my thoughts. And I'd sit there for 20 minutes or so. And I'd say, well, not much happened. That was a little boring, tedious sometimes. But I put in the 20 minutes. I put in that 20 minutes. And I'd say, well, okay, I did it. I did meditation. I don't believe it's going to do much good for me, but I did it. What happened was then I go about my day. And there come a time often in that very day after I did that 20 minutes, some person, place, or situation would come up. And I suddenly seemed to have an insightful, empowered way of acting that was much more mature than the old me, much more helpful to the other person. I suddenly realized, oh, I'm listening to this other person. And I said, gee, that's new to me. How did that happen? Okay, the 20 minutes in the morning, your experience was that it was boring, but it wasn't, that was your experience. What was happening is the higher power was, if you will, this is the best I can explain it, was filling that hole in your heart, unbeknownst to your experience in the 20 minutes, but it came out later in the day. In a person, place, or situation. For instance, somebody does something and you usually get upset. Suddenly you don't get upset. You have a certain insight into it. You have a compassion for them, whereas before you only judged them. And on the other hand, you can sit for that 20 minutes or a half hour or whatever, and it can be very quieting, a profound sense of stillness, a peacefulness that you've never known before, even a sense that you're not alone in your meditation time. It doesn't depend upon you. The only thing that depends upon me is showing up. We say to people, go to meetings. And you say, what's going to happen? Go to meetings. If you don't go to the meeting, you're not going to get whatever is going to happen. And inevitably, you go because you agreed to go, you know you ought to go, and you get there and something often happens that's very helpful later in the day or later in the week or later in your life. So I find that you don't do something because you want to or you know it'll make you feel better. You do it because you know you have to. And that's why I think we have the 12 steps. You do them, who cares whether you like them or not? Do you want to stay sober or do you want to kill yourself? It's up to you. So I now sit and meditate. I have no expectations. I just put aside the time. I sit. Sometimes it's very, very profound. And other times it's a little profound. And a lot of times, so. But over a period of time, I find my life just seems to get more peaceful. I'm less attached to things that used to drive me crazy. And often during the day, I have a sense of a higher power in my life. I don't sit around saying, I need to have a sense of a higher power in my life. The higher power is at work. What I'm trying to do is get out of the way. And so meditation is showing up for a meeting with your higher power and learning to listen. Thank you.
I was wondering, are you going to lead us through a meditation?
Okay, well, here's what you can do. Find a comfortable, as comfortable as you can find in the next minute or so. And I say that not because you'll fall asleep, but you may fall asleep. I sometimes fall asleep meditating. It just means you need to take a nap. That's all. Don't worry about it. The reason you want a comfortable spot is you don't want to be thinking a lot about your aches and pains. So you find a comfortable spot. It doesn't have to be any particular position. I'm very clear about this working with a higher power. It's not about you. You don't have to be in a Zen lotus sitting position on your mat or your rug. Just get comfortable. And then when you're comfortable, I would recommend that you close your eyes so that you don't start looking around the room. And then just notice your breathing. And I'll say a little prayer, and then we'll sit for 5 minutes, which Jann will time. And I'll say when it starts. My power greater than myself. I place myself in your hands. I pray that when I find myself focused on my thinking, I will just let it go by noticing that I'm breathing the breath of life that sobriety has given me. Thank you. Begin.
Okay, that's 5 minutes.
Well, can ask people what transpired, if anything.
If you would
What,
raise your hand like that right here, we'll just call on you and unmute you or wave or whatever. Here, I'll turn your camera on too. Hang on here. So started the video. Video started also. Um,
I would, if you're starting out, I would keep it very short, just to do it. I'd rather it was short and you did it twice a day rather than we have big egos, and it's not something that you conquer. It's a relationship that will build as long as you keep showing up. So you can show up for 5 minutes and make it 8, 10, just let it gradually build to your capacity. But the most important thing is the discipline of doing it. But you've already learned discipline from the previous 10 steps. Otherwise, you wouldn't be 11. But you can start meditating earlier, because you did say you're turning your will and your life over the care of God as you have come to understand Him, and you'll come to understand differently, deeper, better by the meditation.
if you want to unmute, you can unmute at, if you want to share with Terry. You know, one of the things that happens to me when I wake up in the morning, sometimes my mind will really start in on everything that's wrong, and I can't stop it. What I do though, I pray. I turn each incident over to God and ask God to take it. Sometimes there are so many of them. They come crashing in, even at 46 years sober.
Well, that's that's a prayer, and it's certainly a good one, and we a necessary one. Meditation is a little bit different. You could meditate focusing on one thing. Here's another thing I find. Say you were looking at a beautiful outdoor scenery, or maybe a work of art. Especially I've lived so long in Colorado, so you're looking at a beautiful mountain scene, and you just focus on that, sitting in your comfortable position. Now your eyes are open, and you're just looking at it, taking in the magnificence of it all. But it's a focused thought. I suspect that I've had it happen that your higher power will work with that. And at some point, you'll feel a nudge, an urge, an instinct to just close your eyes and be. And so that one focused thought was a way of helping you to get centered within yourself. So that's another way of doing it. I've seen people do that. What it does is it helps you to get rid of focusing on, well, you can't focus on many thoughts, but it gets rid of the train of thoughts on the highway or the tracks, and allows you just to stay with one particular thought that grabs you, that's beautiful, or at least beautiful to you. I mean, rather than grabbing onto some tragic situation, like a dog just threw up or something. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about.
Go ahead, Sam. Sam has a comment or question.
Hey there, Jann. Sam, grateful alcoholic. I just want to share about, today's 11th step and a meditation. For me, I was not a big believer in meditation. I was not a believer in, yoga or taking a step back and taking deep breaths, etc. But I've gradually become a believer because it provides clarity. What I usually do is I seek not just spiritual connection, but guidance. Those actions that I know could go one way or the other. What can my higher power, what can God provide for me at this moment so that I don't take the wrong step? And if I do take this wrong step, what is the actionable strength that I can rely on in order to get back on the right path? I really appreciate this, Father. I mean, this is clear cut of what I need personally for my growth and my journey. So I hope, Father Terry, you continue to come to these meetings and continue to share.
He shows up here. Okay, Terry, over to you. What, any comment on that?
Well, I mean, that shows that that you're getting into prayer from where you are. You got to start from where you are, what you need, what makes sense, and let yourself grasp. So that actually is a focused way. You're focused on what you need. You're grateful for what you have. You want to know the next right step. You're not thinking at that moment, what am I going to have for supper tonight? Or what shoes should I put on today when I go outside? At that moment, you're not. So it's one thing, and that starts the relationship. And eventually, the more letting go will begin to take place in short periods of a couple of minutes. I remember I was at one meeting up in the mountains, and they had to have a group conscience whether they should make the meditation 3 minutes or 2. And I thought it was a clear cut. 3 is a lot better. Oh, people say, no, it's too long, and so on and so forth. These are people who are pretty sober. And I said, well, who's practicing step 11 in this crowd? But I didn't say that. But eventually we voted on 3 minutes instead of 2, and it turned out to be just fine.
Rachel writes, I think she left. Are you here, Rachel? She says, thank you, Father Terry. Very peaceful. I wasn't sure how to meditate and shut down my thoughts. So she said it was peaceful. Are you here, Rachel? I guess she left.
No, she's
She,
still here.
she, oh, she is. Where are you? Just unmute Rachel. Are you there, Rachel? I don't see you.
I just asked
Yeah,
her to unmute.
my video is disabled for some reason, but yeah, I'm here.
So, yeah, do you want to further comment on that? Let's see.
Yeah,
Start
yeah, I'm
video.
here.
There you go. Go right ahead. You can start your.
Okay.
Mhm.
There we go. Yeah, it was very peaceful. I was not sure exactly how to meditate and, calm my mind and my thoughts. So it was really, thank you for that. It was really helpful to learn to focus on your breathing and just let the rest go.
Yeah, my sense meditation is a higher power does all the heavy lifting. All we have to do is kind of stay out of the way. So our desire is simply to let go of this train of thoughts. That's our desire, and the higher power goes to work as it knows it needs to for your particular situation.
Thank you, Father Terry.
The 11th step is sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God. Okay, so Lori, go ahead. You can unmute.
Hi, I'm Laura Pollock. Thank you so much, Father Terry. I'm new to meditation as well, and I focused on my breathing and found myself kept sitting on the end of a dock with my feet in the water, watching people fish, and it was amazing that happened so quickly. So I'm going to try to continue that, just to get my mind peaceful, if nothing else. But I've always struggled with that personal relationship with a higher power. This has been really helpful in that bridging that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else that had any thoughts on their humanity? Go ahead, Rebecca. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Rebecca Alcoholic. I'm truly grateful, Father Terry. So yeah, I just now I tried to meditate, and I concentrate on the breathing, and it's mostly a rhythmic sound. There are moments when thoughts come in, and what do you tell those thoughts? Do you just let them like drift off and come back to it? The other thing is, reading 84 and through 88 and the meditation, I found it's the problem is when I go to work, I come in like a tornado. Things aren't right. I sweat the small stuff. No one put in fresh toilet paper. Where are my folders? Somebody move them. All these little things build up, and I come in like a crazy person, and I have to learn to calm that down at the moment. So, and it does come to me. It's just, I want to stop that behavior. So that's all I got.
Well, my sense is, looking at my own experience, is how do I not pay attention to some things? The first thing that came to me is, how do I not pay? I do public transportation a lot. I live in a big city. How do I not pay attention to something that's going on the bus or the car that I'm in? However, I learned to do that. I think of something else. Sometimes I close my eyes and meditate, or try to meditate. But I think the whole idea of me trying, what I think comes with recovery and meditation is I stop trying to change my behavior all by myself. How can I go into the office and not act like a crazy person? And you're not crazy because the things that aren't done need to be done. But why am I going about it this way and making myself miserable? So what you want is, how do I respond to things that need to be done and not destroy myself? And I think it'll come with meditation. In other words, instead of you trying to figure out all by yourself, just as you try to figure out how to not drink by yourself, all of our behaviors will little by little be changed because we meditate. And that's how I think the book Came to Believe is about. They meditated, and then something began to change in their daily life. And that's part of the Came to Believe. That's really where it comes from. Somebody can have a very peaceful meditation, says, I believe in God. I have a peaceful meditation. Well, the next day, their thoughts are everywhere. It's miserable. And then what is that? Now they don't believe. It's that your life changes because you practice the meditation. And how it happens is the miracle. You will begin to go into the office. There'll still be no toilet paper, because one of the things we've learned is we can't change other people. That's one of the things we learned in AA, but we can be changed. My job is me. And so now I either figure a way without driving myself nuts to get the toilet paper, or I just do it myself. I live in a religious community with other men. And so there are some things, the idea that I get is men think that their mother is here and is going to take care of them. So they don't do stuff around the house. That's my thinking. Now, of course, that's a prejudice. They do things around the house, but when I'm calm and sober, I know they do some things, and some things they don't do. Just do them. And so I don't get crazy about things not being done. I just do them and move on. And that's how it'll work.
Thank you, Father.
Okay, so a couple things here. We have, Matt, if you can put up a link. This is Terry's Facebook, and he writes a blog pretty often. You can find it right there. This is Terry's Facebook blog if you want to go to it. He's also on, what else are you on? You're on YouTube too, huh? Right?
Yeah, I am. Someplace.
Father-
Father Terry Ryan, spiritual stuff. I think you might find it there.
And also he writes, and then also Terry has this group supports his work with the Paulist Priest. And so, Matt, if you put up his, there it is. So you can make donations if you want to. This is his Venmo, at Terry-Ryan-25. What do the Paulist Priests do? What do you have in San Francisco? What is all that
They
about?
do some evangelization. They do some reconciliation of people who have drifted off from the church. They do some ecumenical interfaith work. They're very open to working with people who have gender issues and feel like they're on the outsides and that sort of thing.
Wow. Okay. What do you do every day at the is it a monastery or a church or a
Me,
rectory?
I'm in San Francisco at a parish. I don't live at the monastery anymore. So I do some things around the parish, or I'm technically retired. So some days I just,
Really?
I don't know, go around town or something like that. But I have some duties that I do, but I'm not 24/7. I don't have a lot of business meetings to go to anymore. Actually, I spent a lot of time with dealing with moving into the city with Medicare and insurance issues and learning how to just let it go. It'll work out eventually. Don't get crazy about it. And that's what AA has helped me to do. Stop whining and complaining. Doesn't solve anything.
Do you ever go to Giants baseball games there?
Yes. And I'm wondering why that your Broncos finally are decent. You don't have the Broncos hat on, but I'll
Okay.
let that go. That's an outside issue.
Issue, but I do have the outside hat here someplace.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you do.
There it is. Um, so Terry, when he's in town, he comes over and we watch baseball on the big screen. Uh, Thank you, Terry, for coming and doing this. I've been really excited about having you. And Terry shows up. Well, you becoming when we were clean livers, he I used to see him there all the time at Boulder One, and so when we started this online meeting, Terry just naturally came to it. And then here's your pal Tejas. Tejas started coming here the day he got sober. Hey Tejas, turn your camera on. You want to share? Because it's good to see you. Tejas shows up every now and then.
Yeah. Hey, Jann. Hey, everyone. Tejas Alcoholic. Yeah, I showed up when the meeting was called Clean Livers 3 years ago, or however long.
You used to run the Saturday meeting, didn't you?
For a little bit. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Till he got mad at me, but he didn't leave entirely. I
I'm
don't know
still
if you
around.
Yeah, and because now people they have a fit, Terry. They just go off like a rocket. Except for like Matt. See, Matt, how did you like the meditation? Because you're pretty well adjusted, aren't you, after like 9 months?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing all right, but I really liked Father Terry's talk. And then for me, even just because over my 40, almost 50 years of life, like I never really took time for myself and during the day to, especially when I had kids, a job, full-time job that was 45 minutes away. You get up, you shower, you do this, you run out the door, you're in the car, you know, and rinse and repeat every single day. So taking like 20 minutes in the morning for me has helped immensely just to like gather my thoughts, like, or not even gather my thoughts, just take time for myself of 20 minutes of thinking without any reactionary bouncing around to, I got to do this, I got to do that. What should I be doing? It's like, no, this is my time for 20 minutes, basically me and, God. And it just helps clear my mind and sort of set the stage every morning. And then even at night before I go to bed, it's sort of like, okay, reflecting on the day, like just what gratitude wise, it's helped. I mean, and I just never did it really um,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the past.
We
So
always have time to drink.
That's right. Yeah, I
well,
did exactly why I didn't do it.
7 hours a day. You'd have 5 minutes to meditate, right? So let me just go to some of the new kids that came today. Hey, Lori in Denver, this is your first time here, so and you have 2 weeks sober. How did you like today's meeting? A little different, huh?
Yeah, I hadn't tried the meditation during meeting before. I find the consistency in doing it 5 minutes instead of pushing myself or telling myself I'll do it like 30 minutes every day, which I do not stick up to at all. I think I'm gonna start doing that just 5 minutes.
Well,
Yeah,
you're welcome to come. We're here every day at same time, okay? And come for 5 days and see how you like the meeting, and we'll put you to work. We give out assignments, reading and writing, all of that. So this is the place to come. Nat in Nevada. We always like to get to the new people. Hey Nat, so is this your first? This is your first time here at this meeting? How did you like it? Okay. And Jason's in Akron. Ryan and Johnstown. Hey, Ryan, how are you doing? You have 1.5 weeks. You just started coming a little while ago, right?
Yeah, this is my third time. I've never meditated before, so I found that very interesting. I'd say probably about halfway through, you could just kind of feel everything relax, have your mind clear. So yeah, I found it very interesting
Right.
today.
So you're coming for the 5 days, and then we're
Yes.
gonna take you through the steps and everything. Excellent. Dylan, how about you? How did you like today's meeting? And this is your first time here, right? Maybe he's not. Harry Berto, how did you like today's meeting?
It was good. It helped me a lot. Because the last couple of weekends I've been helping my brother on the weekend moving some heavy stuff. So I was stressed out and tired, and I've been having anxiety the last couple of days. So it helped me a lot. Yeah, it helped me focus and just relax, concentrate on my breathing and clear up my head.
What do you think, Terry? Helps with anxiety, apparently.
Well, you're not paying attention to those feelings either. You're just not paying attention. You say, I'm feeling anxious, and then just notice your breathing. And the anxiety seems to lose its grip just a little bit. It won't happen all at once.
Yeah.
Just as sobriety, you stop drinking, but the depths of sobriety is a lifetime experience. It just builds.
And Joe, how about you in Boston? 30 days today. Congratulations. If she's
Thank
still
you. I continue to try meditating. I have a very hard time turning my head off, though. I always did. I went to Catholic school when I was young, and during times of prayer, I had a very hard time thinking the right thoughts, if that makes sense. I always felt like I was being listened to, which is supposed to be a good thing, but it didn't always feel like a good thing. But I continue to try or do various exercises to keep my head calm and direct myself to what I want to be thinking about. Like I don't remember her name, but I liked what the person said about imagining sitting by the water with her feet in it. I believe, because I can totally picture myself doing that and thinking about what I would think when I grew up near the water. So the water has always been calming to me.
Well, there's a focused thought. For you, water is a focused thought, just as sitting by the water watching the fishes. And a focused thought means you're not scattered. And you can just sit with that one thought, and eventually, over a period of practice, you'll feel an urge to just to be. And that thought will kind of drift away, and you'll be actually taken to some sort of depth in yourself. Just let it happen.
I like that.
perfect. Naaman, how about you? Well, we'll just keep going with this.
I really appreciated doing it with a group. Normally the best way I can practice it is on my walks when I walk down to, I live in the country, so I walk down to the end of my road and back, and takes me about an hour, and I just normally breathe through my nose, do the nasal breathing thing, and don't think about much. And then just look at the sunset. I try and time it. And it's really helpful for me because I have bad anxiety, and I had some trauma from getting beat really bad and recovering from that. So I shake sometimes, and I feel things a lot in my body. So it's really nice and helpful to take the moment to just be quiet and still, and just notice the things like oh my goodness, like I'm doing, vibrating here, I'm shaking, and then you pay attention to it, it just kind of goes away. If sometimes, and other times it just gets worse, and I just have to do something else. But I think the walking one helps me to be able to at least do it in some form, even if it's not sitting still.
Okay.
But learning to be quiet in my own head is a big challenge for me. So I really appreciate even doing it in the group and taking 5 minutes out of the day. Like how awesome! What a cool practice. Thank you.
Yeah, you can do, some people do meditation by walking. And as you mentioned, as long as you're not walking in something that's very busy, with a lot of activity going on around you. So you could be walking on just a familiar road. You could be walking in a garden, on a trail. And I mean, you have to have your eyes open so that you can see where you're going, but you're not trying to pay attention to any one thing. That is, you're not trying to get inside your mind with, okay, I'm taking this walk, and after it finishes, I got to go to the grocery store, because that takes you into the future. And the walking is about being in the present moment. And you just try to be here now, walking. And you'd be surprised what you notice around you that you didn't see before when you were walking, but thinking about other things.
You use the gong, this thing here. Do you have it play the whole time when you're meditating?
No, I just use it as a timer. In other words, I set a timer and have a nice, maybe, bell or a chime go off. I don't like alarm clocks because they just keep ringing till you press them. I just
Well,
want something that makes a single bong, and then I know my 20 minutes is up.
I have a what do you call it? Oh, excuse me, trying to turn this off. I have I listen to meditation music at night when I'm trying to sleep,
Yeah,
and it helps. It helps you, helps me like get to sleep. And
sure.
I'm wondering about listening to the bell when you're meditating.
Well, you don't listen for it. It just comes on, the bell rings. That's all I want. I have a little gong.
Yeah.
You can go into your app on your phone and you find the one that you want. It goes off once. That's why I don't use alarm clocks. They go bing, 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 bing until you hit them. That's to wake up from sleeping. But meditation, I just want to know the 20 minutes is up. Just give me a simple ring, and that's it.
I think we're almost done. I wanted to call on Stacy. Hey, Stacy, how about you? I think you're the last person. One of the last. I don't know if she's there.
Hey, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I love meditation, and I think that was really great to start off with the prayer and to just take time every day to reflect on yourself and be calm. Very
Perfect.
important.
And thank you. And Daryl, you're trying to get sober. How's it going today? You're still drinking or what?
Yes, I still am.
And you're
But I
coming
got
here.
my books in the mail today, actually. So drop the
Oh,
rock.
really? You ordered the book? Oh,
My wife, my wife did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which ones you get? You get all 5 of them or 6?
I got 3. Drop the rock, and one is totally black and a 12-step workbook.
Okay. Well, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. All right, perfectly. Is Matt still here? Hey, Matt, you want
Yeah.
to take us out with the whatever it is that we
Yeah, the
do?
promises.
Promises, yeah.
These are the promises on page 83 of the big book. If we're painstaking about this phase of our development, we'll be amazed before we are halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We'll lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We'll intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We'll suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They're being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They'll always materialize if we work for them.
All right, thank you. And here it comes the serenity prayer. It goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So this meeting is officially over. And if anybody has any questions about the meeting or AA, you can unmute and ask. Thanks, Terry.
Okie doke. See
I
you all
didn't realize
later.
I didn't realize you were retired. You don't seem like you're busy all the time.
Well, it's mostly it's not the work that you retire from so much. It's just your status. It's more complicated, but I'm officially retired as far as the Paulist Fathers are concerned, but that doesn't change what you do.
You get a different color armband or anything, or
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't get anything very different. You maybe get ignored a little more. I don't know, but that's all right too. All right, we'll see you later. Hey, the Broncos are on.
Thank you,
tonight.
Father.
The Broncos are on right now in a few minutes. You better turn
that's
them
right.
on.
Thursday
Prime,
night.
Amazon Prime.
Oh, that's good. I'll join you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Father Terry.
You're welcome.